All right, guys. Something a little more mind engaging here for this thought from Tumor Town with the old buddy Bruce. But I may not remember a lot of it. Remember, I'm no expert, no PhD or anything. But I think it's important that people stop and remember, or at least contemplate, the world they live in compared to the world of 120 years ago. I mean, it is like night and frickin' day. You have no idea. I mean, so much we take for granted that was not here 120 years ago, and that's just 120 years. I mean, just think of all these diseases. The ones you might think about, oh, well, polio, diphtheria, dengue fever, all these sorts of things. Go look it up. Look at all of the diseases that were out there in the world in the year 1900, killing thousands of humans every year. We don't even think about them today. Don't even think about them. Amazing. You run in, you go to the bathroom, use the toilet, you take a shower, you don't think anything of it. You didn't do that in 1900 9 times out of 10. The vast majority of people back then still didn't have running water. They had to use an outhouse, or they had to just go to the local stream for bathing. They basically either washed in the stream or the lake, or they went to the town bathhouse, because every town had a bathhouse. So you could give them a couple of pennies and have a nice hot bath, because you weren't going to get it any other way. And water at the house was hand pumped. Hand pumped, baby, for the water you needed to cook and wash with. I mean, nothing like now. Electricity was not everywhere. It was very sparse back in 1900. There was no electricity, no radio, no TV, none of that stuff. The best you might have had in 1900 was a telegram. Talk about an instant message. Hey, type this in, send it down the line. He retypes it, gives it to Billy. Billy gets on his bike, rides it out to Bob's house and gives it to Bob. Not so instant, but that was the best you had. And that was a game changer. Right? I mean, no phones, no smartphones, no telecommunications, no nothing. Right? I mean, international conglomerations as far as businesses were almost unheard of. They just didn't exist in 1900. You couldn't communicate. You couldn't do business fast enough. It just wasn't there. The healthcare industry in particular was still, hunter barbers, the surgeon barber. You're going to go to the barber, have him yank your teeth, cut your hair, and saw off your leg. The traveling circus guy, with all his elixirs with, cocaine and morphine and everything else in between to make you feel better and will your ills. It was totally unorganized. There was totally no thing. And everybody back then, for the most part, still thought that the ills of the body were caused by the biles, the, 7 fluids or whatever. So people were still being bled, leeches, all that sort of stuff. Every town had a chemist, right, who would make up poultices, potions, you name it, to cure your ills, and they were going to kill you far more likely than the disease itself. I mean, it was an incredibly, and there was no antibiotics, absolutely. There was no anesthesia. That was just coming. Just coming. You know. But all around the world, all the elements necessary for what we consider modern medicine were there. They just hadn't coalesced yet. They would in the early 1900s. But if you just stop and think and try to imagine life back then, 120 years ago, versus life today, you know, unbelievable. It is the world has changed so damn fast in the last 200 years, 250 years. Changed so damn fast that it's incomprehensible to most of us. But as I think it's wise that you think about it and you keep that little notion of it in your pocket. It'll make you humble. It'll make you think about just how lucky you really are to be alive in this time and have all of these things available to you. You know, and the exponential for change is only growing. So, you know, Lord knows what the next 100 years is going to look like. Things are going to change so fast. Will we be able to keep up? I don't know. Maybe not. We're having a hard time with it now, aren't we? You know, integrating social media, disinformation, propaganda, all these things into our lives because we're bombarded with them now 24/7. They're in our lives constantly when they never were before. Just something to think about. Something to remind yourself that you're not the big hot shot you think you are. That you really are beholden to a lot and a lot of other people that came before you to give you the things you have right now. Just think about it. All right, guys. Peace and hang ten.